And this is the fault of Google and Microsoft. I'm looking at you guys. Creators are everywhere. The problem is like, who is your right creator? I feel difficult sometimes to reach the goal for one specific point. It's just the cost. The management needs to be bold enough to believe in it and needs to be really
very open-minded.
Very open-minded. Many creative, they will never, ever trust an AI. And then when that happens, I do believe that sky's the limit. My main challenge is time, definitely. Meaning that I do believe that we need to make an impact soon because beauty industry is fast.
Yes. Hi, Edoardo, how are you?
Oh, good, Margot. And you, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So you're currently a director of digital analytics and AI in a beauty company.
Yeah.
Can you, just to start, tell us a bit more about your role, what you're doing, what's your mission?
Yeah, of course. So at the moment, I leading a fantastic team of experts across like machine learning, data engineering, and analysts. And I'm overseeing basically all the innovation and analytics activity across the company. Majority of them are focusing e-commerce and supply chain.
Okay.
So it's divided based in these two parts. And obviously after that, there is a massive focus over social media and influencers. So any sort of innovation on that side also is overseen by my team. Yeah.
Nice. I think we'll deep dive into this part.
Yeah.
So how did you end up in this role? Since when do you work in this company?
I started in the beauty industry. I think now we're going almost a year and a half.
Okay.
I think, roughly
and
that.
What was your background before this?
Before that, I was not in beauty industry, definitely. I started actually from, let's start from the beginning. I was in Google, so totally different digital marketing background. I loved like the performance marketing part and everything. But at the same time, I always had in the back of my head the question, where the data that I need, right? So I started to a little bit learn more and more about data by myself. I was like, self-taught, like many of us, right?
Yeah.
And during the Google journey, I actually started to get more attached to BigQuery, to Google Analytics. So from when I went from Google, I had the chance to join an amazing consultancy company, Jellyfish. And in Jellyfish, I stayed there for quite some time. And in there, I discovered a whole new world, like not only Google tools or Google Marketing Platform or GCP, but also all the rest. And the consultancy company, obviously, they give you a broad vision across different aspects of the market, so retailer, hospitality, and so on. So obviously, I had the chance to collect as many as I can, and I moved slowly from paid performance to analytics to conversion rate optimization, until obviously looking at innovation. So after that, I moved here to Dubai with Majid Al Futtaim.
Yeah.
And in Majid Al Futtaim, I was heading the whole digital analytics team, including obviously part of innovation. Most of it I was in Carrefour.
Okay.
So I was leading all the Carrefour side,
Okay.
Yeah, and then after I moved to corporate, so
Okay.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur as well, right?
I am, I have
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, okay. So yes, I do have.
That's the non-data part of your
It's not data
role.
part, but during this journey, official journey, they can say, I had a little bit of passion that I wanted to share with the world. So one of them was a project that during the period between Jellyfish to Dubai, I actually stopped in Barcelona for a little bit more, and we built this together with my ex-partner, a company called Primes Media, and that was like my first approach to fashion and music.
Okay.
It's different. It's entertainment and fashion, right? So we had the idea to kind of bring digital really close to this, like to music and retail, but most of it like luxury. So we were working really a lot with this brand, and I started my passion and the creativity side of me. That sometimes I wanted to design some clothes. I liked it, and then when I left totally Primes Media and successfully, and then after obviously I moved to Dubai, I met my partner of this passion project that I have here in Dubai, that is Rejoy.
Yeah, nice.
And we basically started to design a clothing line.
Okay.
But now, today, with obviously the AI coming up, we feel like that we have like a broad channel to where we can communicate. And for that reason, like this sort of like fashion AI, we're trying to bring together right now. We want to actually build sort of a community across this, like making people feel like I did before. You can now design clothing. You can have idea, but then it needs to be reviewed, obviously, from a specific designer, of course. But we want to actually make sure that these people actually can do that.
Yeah.
So we actually now trying to create some sort of like a channel inside our website where people can drop like their idea with Sora, and then you can design, and then we can pick it up and say, okay, that's actually cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice.
Because I was gonna ask you. I think you have a pretty interesting profile because most of the people I meet in the region or in this field in general, they are more from not technical background, but they have more like a scientific mindset, if I can say. And you're so creative, but you work in data and AI. Yeah. So I was wondering, how do you actually like create the bridge between both?
It's better that it never get mixed. No, I'm joking. When it get mixed, it's messy. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I think like a part of me, the part of analytics part is sometimes it gives me like the rational thing. Like I can analyze the situation, right, correctly. And that's what I like the most about myself. That is like, sometimes I stop right there. And sometimes I say, no, wait, I need to back up 1 second. So let me calibrate more any action that I'm doing. And then after I do it. But obviously, like for me, is like the creative side, I think is also a plus because it made me create products during my whole journey across, like from jellyfish until arriving and where I am today, is that I build also product within the organizations to help them, to grow. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is the creative side that comes
service,
in.
Yeah, perfect. And so I would like to deep dive into the beauty part of your experience. Yeah. But before we go into this, because I would like to talk about social media, AI for influencers, I think you have a lot to say. Can you explain to us briefly what you did actually at MAF? What was your role exactly? What did you achieve during this time? And then we'll switch to the beauty part of your experience.
So when I was in MAF, actually, it was way different. Like I was really focused on performance marketing. Okay. So the majority of the thing was performance marketing and data engineering automation. So imagine that's the part, like you have so much data coming obviously from retailers and everything, like from Carrefour, imagine yourself, and all the rest. So you need to have a data flow perfectly implemented, but most importantly, you need to reduce the workload of the people that engineer and so on. So you want to automate all that part. Yeah. So my focus from one side was that one. Okay. But then we also did something crazy. So we started to create machine learning models to basically increase, obviously, conversion rate across the website. Then also we implement the fast delivery. And we also create some CRO activity, personalization across the website to increase, obviously, all that part. But additional to that, there was a project, there was a tech project that was basically an internal, sort of internal sponsorship of the brands itself, so the listing. So we create some sort of like a propensity modeling plus it's basically all a machine learning side, where basically we were positioning brands on top or on the bottom, depending on the visitors' behavior, and obviously on depending on how much the brands itself were paying for positioning themselves higher or lower, but it was not always the same because we were personalizing the experience of the users within the app and in the website. Okay. That made boom. Like there has been like, I think it was like 3 years ago, we had like a case study published. I think you can find in the LinkedIn. It was like a case study published from Google that actually we increased 3.7x the revenue of
thanks to the propensity model,
thanks to that, Oh wow! It was massive. Okay. It was a really, really nice project. I gotta be honest. So Then after from there, I moved to the corporate. Okay. In the corporate, it was a little bit different because you actually need to look at also the concept store and all the rest, and we were like some SWAT team, so to speak. So obviously there was mostly like all the analytic perspective set up and data engineering, but also the machine learning. We tried to after the success that we had, like obviously MAF, Carrefour. We wanted to do the same. So obviously we collaborate with all the internal team to then after implement this.
So you scaled basically for like all the other, I don't know what they call it, brands. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And in your current experience. So you said you're responsible for innovation, etc. So I wanted to have your point of view on like, because I had an interview already with someone from another beauty company, and it's interesting to understand like why do you think this industry that is so creative usually, that is mainly led by marketers, why do you think they actually have to take this the data opportunity, the AI opportunity?
That's a good question. So looking at now, many creative, they will never, ever trust an AI.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. So the point is you need to use the AI on your leverage. Meaning, when you want to create a campaign online or something like that, you can get inspired, true. But from my opinion, beauty company, retail company, luxury retail company, they should use AI in a different approach. Meaning that, from my opinion, when it comes to social media, you want to be ahead of the trends. Sometimes this ahead of the trends comes from the designer itself. They know what they want to do. They know what is hot and hot. But social media does not reflect what it is today. For instance, red is the color of the year. Let's look at a luxury fashion, right? Snake is the year of the snake. Red. Red is the color. The hype is there. How you translate this? What are you going to use on the reel? How are you going to communicate this? What are the trending sort of, I don't know, reels attraction, like, you know, like the hooks and everything. This is a hard job for a person to do. But what you can do is using AI to do so. So rather than focusing on creating ads, now they're doing it successfully, don't get me wrong, but they will never. You saw my last post actually, I forgot to mention, the Porsche one.
Yeah.
That was incredibly done. Amazing. This is like the perfect idea on how to do and how to use AI. You create different, with different prompt, you create little frames and then you can connect together, and then, but the voiceover is made by you. This is a perfect and well done executed AI. Okay? But when it comes to ads, when it comes to this, it's difficult. When it comes to a full campaign, it's difficult. So I always suggest with any other brands and also in my organization to use it in a way to catch and to identify a better way to expose yourself in the social and to get the hook and to get the hack sort of the virality to increase that. Rather than obviously doing in a different way, because it's two different things.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. So it's not mainly replacing the creativity, creating ads, etc., but it's really identifying the trends and understanding how to build your messages, etc.
Exactly. Okay. For example, Dash Hudson, many other tools right today, they're doing a little bit of this, but it's really difficult. It's really, really complicated. Like, I'm thinking like how many data labeling, how many hours you need to spend on this.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
Huge.
It's not easy. It's really, really complicated, right? And many brands are using Dash Hudson, for example. That is like, I think, from my opinion, one of the top product in the market today. Dash Hudson, for example, they give you like some sort of like trends, but they're not really realistically elaborated. So you always need to find a way that you need to build your own, so to speak, or make your own little machine learning engine or something like that to allow you to do so. You know, like, and many brands need to start to work on this. Like, I do believe that if you want to enter in a beauty industry, luxury, fashion, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, you need to catch the trends. The trends are going so fast. There are too many users, too many people, too many brands today that can go viral in 1 second. So, yeah.
But for some industries, it works pretty easily. But like in beauty industry, for example, you need to develop products. It takes a lot of time. So you identify trends, but like, how can you be like so agile that like you identify trends and you can develop the product, because it takes probably months, right? I believe to create a lipstick or something like. So how do you? I don't know if it's the case in the company you work for, but or in general on the market, if there are companies that actually manage to do this properly, but. Because it's fine you have the trends, I understand, for social media. But today, can we use the trends for product development, or it's still complicated?
Oh, this is a good question.
Yeah.
I mean,
the answer can be not yet. I'm developing
I don't think so. So I always do believe that product development team, right? They know what is trending now in the market. They go a lot. It's a lot face to face and a lot of discovery with testing with people.
Yeah, they go on the field, on the ground.
Yeah. But this can be always used, like, I'm thinking, like, from my opinion, this can be actually used in the same way. We're meaning that you look at the sentiment across. You can get information across reviews, you can get information across newspaper. If you're really well structured inside the company, if you're really well settled, I do believe there is the chance that you can actually have a data flow coming from different sources, such as reviews, newspapers, TVs, or so on, that you get all the stream flow coming in one LLM, and then making the analysis and collecting all the feedback and coming along. That could be done. But on product development, no,
maybe not yet.
No, yeah.
So how do you think today, so coming back to social media, because I guess today that's when you look at all the product development and communication, etc., maybe this is what is mostly impacted by AI. How do you think the brands are changing maybe their methodology thanks to AI? Is it because you said, so trends detection is huge, so it make them like adapt pretty quickly the content that they post. Do you see any other thing? Like, how is AI really transforming the way people do social media today? I'm talking about brands for now.
I think many brands, for example, they are using it in different ways. So some of them, from my opinion, in the social media perspective, they're using it for automate captions or something like that, creating LLM that can sound better. So
saving time, basically.
Yeah. We notice it, but sometimes it's not always the best.
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's
sound.
Coming.
It's coming. It's not really the best.
You still need to have a human. You still need to have someone reviewing, making sure that it fits.
Or at least set the tone.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you should have it. I mean, another part, obviously, like you can get like a quality check over like the images. Definitely, would I substitute images created from a campaign? It will.
Yeah.
Not yet, but it will.
It's coming.
People are starting getting it. People, from my opinion, that will happen in 2025, 2026. I think we're going to see a lot. Meta introduce it, the new ads. They might introduce also UGC people that is going to be like there constantly. It will start to come. I'm pretty sure that this will happen. And this could be one part. But for my opinion also, like, I think like brands, they should start to actually look into more on the performance side of it. Like, for example, from my opinion, if I want to use the AI perspective over the performance, I would like to understand, like, I want to understand more my audience. So I want to get all the analysis. You know, nowadays you get the API from Instagram, but now there is also the problem with the data, the restriction, GDPR, PI, first-party cookie, and so on and so on. More than I say, although, like he said, that it's going to be free, do come about. I don't believe it. Anyway, apart from that, like, obviously you create your own API. You can collect all those data. Sometimes unlimited, but you can still get to know your audience.
Yeah.
You can still to understand a little bit how they think, what they do, who they are. And actually you can create some sort of like a profiling. That's where I think you should more focus on right now. Okay. Because until Sora or Google develop like many new social media focused image creation, campaign creation, but then
So if you had to build your, like, let's say the perfect tool, but with what exists, like, I'm not talking about in 6 months, but like probably today as a brand, you said understand who the target is, the customer, how to talk to them, probably add a bit of like inspiration for creative, where you're saying it's not maybe mature to create the whole image, etc., but probably a bit of inspiration. So let's go like really concretely into what it will look like. You're saying you could take the data from like through the APIs, but like what data do you actually take on?
That's a good point. So you can get the two type of data, right? So there are one data is like basically your personal data, so from your profiles. The second
followers, you mean,
not the followers data, but rather your profile data. So post, information, caption, like views, and all this sort of stuff. So already give you like some sort of thing. The second point is the public data. So you have some sort of public data you can collect through the API. So Dash Hudson, for example, is a tool. They actually do this. So they collect the data across different social media profiles, and then automatically what they do is like they score each single post, and automatically they tell you like, okay, this can work well, this can work no, how they're doing. And also there are different other tools such as Tribe or any other ones in the market that actually they score also the influencer and the post of other people directly into the platform. That leverage a lot. And you can get all those data and then make some sort of like AI LLM that can actually create some sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that if from my opinion, that what should be
that
done.
Could be,
Yeah.
And do you see any challenge in motivating the teams to use it? The reason why I'm asking is like I previously worked in building similar solutions basically, but the objective was to show the creative and the marketing teams a lot of insights so they could understand like, okay, I want to put this this product on the market. So how do I, what is actually the target? And this target they like when there is a face on the picture or when there is a price or this type of things. And when we came with the product, people were like, no way, I don't need it. I know my people. I know the customers better. I know the product, blah, blah, blah. And then they started testing it because they had to. And they were like, oh, yeah, actually, it helps me.
But it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes time. And all of it will take time.
Yeah.
When we create something in math, it was the same thing.
It's always very difficult.
It's all always same. Like most of the time, you build something, they always will go with something that is already in the market. But then when you say to them, like most of the time, the trick is like every time it's like, I will make a custom for you. Tell me what you...
Yeah.
So a trick that I learned from my previous experience, even in Jellyfish, when I was in consultancy, for example, is that listen to them and involve them constantly over like the different like steer committee and get them involved from day one. And then I think like if you catch them from the beginning, then they will trust you. But the thing is like if you present to them something like this, it's hard. I learned from my mistake.
Yeah.
I built something at the time for Jellyfish for a client. Yeah. They were looking at us, we don't need it.
No.
But then...
it was not answering to any challenge they had identified.
Yeah, exactly. But when we actually rephrase the same product to another client and we say, what do you need? This, we have it. I put it. What do you need? This, we have it. We put it. Okay, and that. But they were like feeling, oh, okay, these guys are listening to me, you know? Done.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you were saying like if you build this type of tool for social media, you can get the data of the brand followers. We didn't talk about influencers, and I believe in beauty, luxury, in fashion industry in general, even for your own brand, you're gonna probably use influencer one day.
Yeah.
Do you see AI impacting their job, but as well the way companies pick them, you know? Like how can you, obviously if you look at their data, the post, etc., maybe it's easier as well to pick the right influencer for your brand. Do you see this coming on the market?
I think so, yeah. Because like, for example, Tribe is like the tool that many brands use, right? And Dashat's on both of them actually. They have this functionality of UGC content, so influencer management.
Yeah.
They actually you are able to look at all the data, collecting those information
from the influencer.
Influencer, roughly like from stories to post, anything, and you can score them. But what is missing, that I do believe there is something that is missing, is just like a sort of collective database and an LLM that give me that sort of information. Like sometimes people think like, okay, what AI does for me? The AI will create ads. The AI will create, I don't know, create. I always hear create, but it's not needed. You don't need to create. I'd rather suggest use the AI to help you to solve something.
Yeah.
Use the AI to solve you the time, the hour, and score for you. Exactly, and then you create.
Yeah.
Because that's the most powerful insight. Same goes for influencer. How many influencers we have today that create, post? But you need to go and look. Okay, this is it. Okay, another one. Show me this one. Show me that one. But I don't have an AI that at the moment there is no one that give me like, okay, I'm typing this ad, collecting this information. Give me scoring this, done, report, finito. I know now what to do. You know?
Yeah.
And it give me an action. So for beauty industry and fashion, there is a lot of influence nowadays. Creators are everywhere. The problem is like, who is your right creator? And how do exactly what will make me better? Yeah. But for that, I will need a tool to tell me if his audience work best for himself. Because everybody can fake it. I can do a promotion right now.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. That's it. But it's promo. But I need to see a trend. Imagine if I ask you, Margot, show me the trends of this guy. You need to go one by one and look at. Because at the moment, neither of the tool that I just said, they do.
Yeah.
So how can I know all the reach per time?
Yeah.
A person, let's say, is a perfect example, with all what is happening today in the world. Many influencers got impacted positively and negatively with many of the factors.
Yeah,
we know. Now, who is getting impacted the most? I need to know. Because that person will not be good enough for me. Even many brands, many fashion brands, they went down just because they collaborate with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Bad analysis.
Yeah.
It's not looking about
But do you have access to this data?
You do. So, for example, like majority of the time, many tools such as Hudson and everybody, they actually have API directly connected with the Instagram and everything. So you can see comments, you can see whatever is public. Obviously, if the profile is publicly available, business and so on. But you have it's all in the API tool.
Yeah, you can have the performance of any influencer account.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Nice. And on the influencer side, do you see? I don't have the answer. That's really not the topic I master the most. Maybe not yet. How do you see AI transforming this role as well? What is obvious for me is like supporting creating content, as you said, just to get like tools to help in the creation itself process. But they are as well it goes both ways with the brand. So do you think there is any AI solution that could as well help them in their job?
I hope so that someone is thinking about it. I hope so.
Is it you?
I don't know. I cannot tell. But that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So obviously, like for influencers, that's a big market because obviously influencers are struggling day by day on being like, it's good.
Yeah.
So for people to actually express themselves, me myself, I'm trying.
Yeah.
So obviously, like we need to know what works in the industry. We want to be ahead of the trends. We want to be always there. So I always say this, right? There is two ways of doing marketing. The marketing for brands who are already established or content creators who are already established, they have a strategy. But the AI can really be helpful for people that are struggling, that they want to start. So there is different way to use already the tool that you have today in ways. So for example, like I tested with my brand. I actually searched a few things like in terms of, for example, like, did you see the DeepSeek? You can actually see trends. It thinks.
Yes.
So that's actually crazy. And I actually started to use it the other day and just to play around. And I started to use it. It actually gave me the trends. It actually gave me the hooks.
Yeah.
But from the top followers, from the top reach. And you can actually segment it, for example, like if you want to become an influencer, right? You need to think like this. You say like, okay, I want to arrive 100,000. But I want to see only reels who has X reach.
Yeah.
X reach. So you know that how much, and the conversion between the reach and the engagement needs to be X. So you know what can work.
Yeah.
So you collect those data. You can look at those data.
Yeah.
This is the game changer. But then again, if someone wants to create something like this, it's hard because it's costly.
Yeah.
You need to store all those data. You need to label all those data.
Yeah.
And you need to label them with the right name. Each hook has a different name. Each transition in the video has a different name.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But if you succeed, you make a difference.
If you succeed, you make a difference. But it's costly.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're talking about millions of influencers, millions of brands, and you need to collect, segment, analyze, get the best out of it, and then directly you need to label them to make sure that your library is perfectly on point.
So it's very good that you mentioned the costs, because that's a discussion we often have. We talk about AI, but it costs a lot to create a model, to run it, to maintain it, etc. And it's not the solution to all the challenges, obviously. So in this case, what's the solution? Like, what is interesting? I know you don't have the answer, but what is interesting in what you do is that on one hand, you work in quite a big company, and on the other hand, you have this new business. A new brand you're trying to develop. So I believe you are a bit between two worlds. And I kind of think like as a new brand, you may be more agile. It's actually, I think, easier to use AI as a small brand, but you'll be blocked by the costs. Whereas on the other side, maybe not in the current company, but in general, you can be blocked by less agility. You may have budget, but it's maybe more, you need to prove impact quickly, blah, blah, blah. So,
right. Yeah. That's exactly my problem right now. Like, this is a struggle that we face, right? Yeah. It's normal. But everybody of us in our industry, let's think about it. When you need to invent something, when you need to build something, or when you want to use AI, you're gonna run into this cost no matter what.
Of course.
You try always to build a relationship with someone close, right? This I'm talking about from my big brand
Yeah.
where I'm working every day.
Yeah.
I think that's where obviously like I feel like the struggle comes when I need to justify the cost, because most of the time people like, they don't know. They're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
let's build this. It's like, yeah, we can, but it's gonna be costly.
Yeah.
So obviously it's like you get blocked sometimes because obviously like you wanna do so much, you know that you can achieve that because there are opportunity now, but it's blocking every time we get blocked from the cost for sure.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, with my brand, it's easier, yes, and I actually think it's way faster. I can,
You're the boss. I mean, obviously.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, I would, but
It's
I
a
mean,
bit
what I'm
easier.
saying, I mean, one of them. But yeah, I mean, the thing is like, since it's passion, since it's like
Yes.
obviously, like it's just like you're trying to build something. You use what you have. Like I'm not building tools there,
Yeah.
or I'm not building any architecture or something. I'm just using what is available in the market for now. But obviously, it's just like we're trying to connect thoughts. Like we're trying to connect and make the best out of it. But it's easier. Obviously, like it's simpler is best.
Yeah.
I do believe that less is more. That's what I always say. But with my company, with my job, is I feel difficult sometimes to reach the goal for one specific point. It's just the cost. I'm scared because obviously, like when you talk about, like, for example, and I do believe that many other brands have filmed the same way. Even a little chatbot, like, it's expensive. Like you start to implement it, and you say like, okay, let's roll out to 10 users.
Yeah, but you need to put it into, I mean, I believe into perspective with the impact as well. So I believe the difficulty today is like it costs, but it's difficult to show that you're going to earn money from this. Like it's going to actually have a business impact. Do you, in your job or even at MAF probably before, do you always, whenever you have to build, we're talking about AI, but whenever you have to build a data project, do you always go through a proper business case? Do you look into like what value is it going to bring and when?
That's actually that's a good point. So there is two aspects, right? So for example, there is two aspects. So if I'm looking at performance marketing, for me it's easy. I can tell you, like, a propensity modeling can go up to this, easy. But when it comes to optimize the internal work, such as a helper, like for example, you want to create your own internal ChatGPT. I don't know. That's an example. You need to justify the hours. You need to justify that this is the amount of hours that you save from X, Y, Z. But here comes my question to you. When you build something like this, do you really think that the team will rely 100% on that? Let's say that, for example, you build something like a helper, right? For creating forecasting of finance or budget sheets and anything, and you don't need to do any presentation or something else anymore. Do you really think they're going to use it at the beginning? No, they're going to use prompt over prompt over prompt over prompt. So every time I say, like, you want to build something like this? You can, but put a good timeline. So for the first period, obviously, you will not see return. You will see return in 1 year or something like that when you increase, when you add. But at the end of the day, you end up to spending $1 million. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. And it can be difficult to justify in a company that is not data-driven from scratch, which is most of the time it's the case for beauty, luxury, fashion, etc., because it didn't start with being data driven. Like
it never started with data driven. Like obviously you started with instincts, you started with
of course
with different things. But
it's different now, I think, when you start a brand. Because you know that you need to focus on this first and you will make a difference with data. But I guess it's quite difficult to convince about impact because it's long term most of the time as well to get the budget, etc.
Like it's difficult when you have like bigger company. It's like there's a lot of launches, there's a lot of campaign, there's a lot of thing going on. So obviously it's hard.
It's difficult to say this is priority, but it's not gonna have direct impact. It's not the core of the business either.
Exactly. So for example, we did something in the past doing this, and we saved time and hours of internal usage. That actually was good. But obviously, like it's still quite hard. Like, I mean, it is quite hard to justify still. I do believe that at a certain point in our industry, many people will start to say, okay, we go. Because it's going to be a trend. There's going to be a trend. And Such as like, I always make this example, conversion rate optimization, A/B testing, right? It was a trend in 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Everybody, Content Square made millions out of it. That's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
At a certain point, all the company will start to have a AI helper inside, an operator, or some sort of propensity modeling, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a trend. So when every time someone will come inside a new management or something, oh, we need to implement this. Oh, we need this. Because it succeeds in the other one. So when people start to go like that, let's say, the difficulty is to be the pioneer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because you want to be the first one so you can actually make a difference. But how do you convince about the impact if no one else say they did it? Or
Exactly. So I think like you need to have the management needs to be bold enough to believe in it, and needs to be really
very open-minded.
Very open-minded. And then when that happens, I do believe that sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be scared. Because if you're scared on the first, takes time.
Yeah.
You cannot have an impact right now.
Time and money.
Yeah.
That's
it's always about that. Unfortunately, it's always about that. But that's the thing. And if you have that, and you secure it, then you're done.
So is this your main challenge? Or
I think my main challenge is time. Definitely.
Like not having enough time, or needing time to see the impact?
I think meaning that I do believe that we need to make an impact soon, because beauty industry is a fast.
Yes. You have launches all the time. Yeah.
So for me to act, I need to be on time. I don't think budget is a problem, honestly, but that time is the problem that I'm running against it.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as you said before, that's a perfect example. You need to prove this to your stakeholders, so meaning your colleagues, that always this thing works. But the hard part is that they are always on point on campaign and everything. So it's really hard to take some time. It's like, hey, check us out. Because it's 24/7.
Yeah, of course.
So this is, for me, is time.
And do you think it's... No, I have the answer, actually. I don't think it's specific to beauty. I mean, it's actually...
I think you're going there. I think it's like beauty and fast-growing fast retail. So, for example, brands such as Brand for Less, Namshi...
they face the same
face the same issue, because you have campaign over campaign, Ramadan, and this and that.
Yeah, it never stops.
It never stops. So obviously, you need to manage that expectation. So you need to plan ahead. Sometimes what always I suggested, what I did that in math, because I faced that 24/7 with Carrefour, was that I create a task force.
Yeah.
That works only on that level, make that impact, do not get disturbed until it's completed, and then when it's completed, we roll. But we roll a test before the main campaign.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not going to do that, because sometimes in the head, it's like, oh, we're going to use it for Ramadan.
Too risky.
Test it, because then after I need to balance it.
Yeah.
Propensity modeling doesn't work immediately. Okay, plug and play. Many people attempt it, many people fail. Let's be realistic here. You cannot create tools for propensity modeling. It doesn't work. You need to adjust it. You need to have a good tracking in place. You need to have everything in place. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So you need to look at all these aspects. So
So always build like a POC, test it, adapt it, and then roll it out to campaigns or brands.
When every time is about that enrichment, I always say plan ahead 3 or 6 months, because we're not controlling it. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
We don't own. There is product owner in the between. There are different people. You don't own that part. So obviously, you need to collaborate way more. So you need to really manage the expectation. That's what we were like, math. Carrefour, there is so many product owners and everything. Imagine I need to implement all data points across everything, collecting the data and making sure that everything works. I need to pass to QA and this and that. For propensity modeling, it took time. But when you launch it and after you launch it, but it will take time.
Yeah, so how do you manage... It's funny because I worked on this before a few years ago for a technology company, but we used to launch these propensity models, and the challenge was we couldn't do it on small campaigns because we needed few weeks to train the model. It was already the end of the campaign. So there is this challenge as well to industrialize it properly so everyone can benefit. You can use it on all campaigns. It's very difficult, especially when you work in... I get it may be the case in beauty. You work on very different products. It's beauty, but it goes from lipstick to I don't know what. So you can't apply learnings to everything. How do you manage this?
When I was in retail, for example, that's actually a good point. You need to understand the behavior of your user. Meaning, are your user buying on the first visit or second visit
Yeah.
or third visit, right? So at that point, when I understand the behavior of my user, so is the first time purchaser, second visit purchaser, third visit purchaser. Then after from there, I ask to the paid media team, retargeting campaign. How much is the performance of those retargeting campaign or long-term campaign? It's true, launches is the worst, but I will use them sort of like a different type of campaign, like launch, but launch. If the launch is like this, I will use the audience that already already stored to retarget directly in it.
Yeah.
But I look all of the time at my propensity model, like majority of the time when I used to be in Carrefour and MAF, we were actually creating sort of propensity model based on the first time visits, two time visits, third time visits, and looking at that perspective plus the time and scoring 0 to 5. And then we automatically were connecting it to the campaign to get the most impact. If it was a short term campaign, I will go directly forward to a number 5. I know they are returning. I know they're purchasing a lot. I spend less. If I show once, they will purchase immediately. That was it. When it comes to new users, it's going to be only on long term. And I agree with you. You will not be able to get anything out of small term. Although, if it's small campaign, it needs to be high volume.
Yeah.
If it's high volume, then it's fine.
Yeah, of course. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Interesting. And a very specific question, because you've worked in Europe, right, before Dubai?
Yeah.
Is there anything very specific from this region as well that can be challenging in these fields? Like, yeah, I mean, we discussed it offline on the fact that obviously in the region there are a lot of things that are not yet implemented versus Europe and other countries. Do you see it as a challenge, as an opportunity as well?
Yeah, sometimes I see it. Like, for example, like still I'm talking to my colleague in Europe, and I do feel like that sometimes Europe has like a little bit more advantage in terms of like sort of advanced. It's more advanced in terms of, let's say, in this field. I think, for example, propensity model, we brought it to MAF. MAF was not doing it.
Yeah.
So, for example, we started that at the beginning, right? So I do think that they were like a little, and while in Jellyfish we were doing it 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it was like the day to day. So I do feel like that, for example, what is missing because of one thing also, and this is the fault of Google and Microsoft. I'm looking at you guys. The thing is, like at the beginning, they did not have much presence here, and I do.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
They did not have a presence here, so obviously that impacted a lot professionals here. Since they moved and they start to do things that make a difference, the responsiveness, still the bugs in Microsoft, but we're gonna fix that.
We're gonna have issues.
I'm joking. So, but no, one thing for sure is the fact, like, since they move here, I do believe that these things change. There is a lot more presence. It's really good. They are really more responsive and so on. And I do think that they are bringing a lot of value now and showing off the products and so on. And look at TikTok, look at Meta. They are doing really good stuff. One thing, obviously, I think like that was what pushed back this region on innovation. But now I think we are there.
Yeah, and it's going fast as well.
It's going fast. It's going fast now. Now definitely we are quite advanced.
Yeah.
Honestly, but before, I think the first time that I moved here, I felt that. Like I was like, where is Google?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and now like they're answering from Ireland. Oh, I see. Okay. So it was a little bit different.
Yeah,
but since they're here now, obviously many agencies, many companies nowadays, they have a really good relationship with with these providers, and I think it's good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this will help now.
Yeah, there are more investments in the region, so of course everyone benefits from it.
Now, yes. No,
interesting.
Definitely,
I had one question on the date on ethics. Like when you work in social media, sorry, going back to social media, you collect quite a lot of maybe not sensitive, like personal information as well. Is this a challenge or?
Oh well, this is an amazing question. So yeah, it is a challenge. We are really well regulated. Like for example, like overall, like for overall e-commerce in general, needs to be regulated.
Of course.
We have to. So we have all best practices in place for GDPR and everything. We do not collect any personal data, such as username or something like that. This is not good. Like we will not be able.
You're very careful about this.
Yeah, we need to. The API itself does not allow you. So that's actually really good. So automatically you do not collect anything of this. So the API does already the work for you. But I remember that, for example, there are others tools, for example, such as Yotpo for reviews or something like that. that they pass sometimes I remember that they pass sometimes the username of your but it's not like GDPR, but you need to always to hash. So we have everything in place for hashing and everything, all best practice. It's really, really important to have sensitive part. And definitely also all our comments since this person, since you don't collect the username, you can even collect them. So it's not a problem.
Okay.
Because you own them. Yeah. But there are limitations now though. Meta is making a lot of limitation in terms of number. So before we used to collect everything, now they're moving to 2,000, 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on which provider.
Yeah, you'll have less and less access to the raw data. That's
you're starting to get a little bit less access, So for example, if you use some sort of like tools such as Supermetrics, Funnel.io, something like that, they not always give you the same amount. So always, it's even limited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you had to give an advice to someone, any company that can be big or small, but that wants to really start investing in data and AI in social media, it's a very broad word, but what would you start with? What would you advise to start with? Is it
create your own API?
Yeah.
And do not miss data labeling.
Interesting.
Data labeling, from my opinion, is the key.
Okay.
And cost. But
this is not a discussion.
It's not a discussion, but cost to keep forget.
Yeah.
No, but joke aside, I think data labeling and definitely APIs are key. Because you want to have access to as many information as possible, but at the same time, you want to categorize and get as much as you can from what you get. Because sometimes, I feel like people use AI to data label.
Yeah. No.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You're doing wrong. You cannot use AI to label your data because the AI itself is not trained to do that. So I saw in my past, or also in a few months ago, I talked with someone. They use ChatGPT to label.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
It cannot work like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing wrong. You cannot do AI to label your own data. You need to have experts to label the data, for then ingest them, to then after having. And when you learn, then you can run it, but overseeing it all the time. So, yeah.
And what would you answer to people who are a bit scared, like mainly creative and marketing people that are a bit scared about AI replacing what they're doing and replacing even the creative side of their role? Like you said, we're not there yet, but still there are a lot of tasks that are going to be automated. So
I think humans are the best AI ever invented. But, not all of us will be replaced. Just the one that know how to leverage it. I always say that. The creative teams, I met creative people that an AI can never think like about them.
Yeah.
But how they leverage things? I met one guy, he had a massive horrible shooting. Horrible. You know what he did? He used Sora to fix it. But it was there, the shooting. The concept was there.
Yeah.
He just fixed it with AI.
Yeah.
That was smart. That was a cool thought. Like, creative social media manager, they will never lose the job.
No.
Because the strategy is there.
If they take the right.
The strategy, they need to do it.
Yeah.
But the execution, rather than running 1 or 2 campaigns per month, they will be able to run 17. I do believe that at a certain point we will arrive, like in retail or something like that, on creating campaign per SKU.
Yeah.
That is my vision. I want to run each campaign per SKU, reducing the CPC, increasing the CVR, and that's it. But I want people that tell me this. Not people say, I'm scared to lose the job. No, tell me how you're going to make me more money through this. Tell me how you are going to increase the number of campaigns through this. Because thanks to this, you work less. You think less. So, what I get in return? Like, for example, Meta, it was smart, right? So they're using now these agents, like these UGC people. This can be used directly for promote more and more and more your products. You know what I mean? Like, you can use them to actually put AI. You just take a nice picture of your object and then you drop it there. And then directly you go. But you need a shot. You need a campaign for it. But then it's meant to go for a AI UGC. And then you go, and then you go, and then you go. But you create campaign over campaign over campaign. So I always say like to them, guys, you're never gonna be substitute if you're smart enough to leverage from it.
Yeah, look into this.
Look into this, yeah.
And an advice for influencers, because this is something we don't discuss much, I believe, but like they're gonna be, you said like if you start being, they're gonna be like scored and they want to be visible. It's very, very competitive.
Yeah.
So what will be your advice for them to be visible properly by the brand and, you know, make a difference thanks to AI?
I think they need to start to use the tool that they have today and collect as many information as possible. Like from it, for example, getting the hooks, getting the information, but do not do random research. Like they need to know exactly where they want to reach. So, as I said before, an example, you want to reach a specific target, you want to reach a specific audience. Take some examples from other people that are doing better than you right now, but just get to understand what gets viral. You know, sometimes people, what they forget, that the posts that are in your page is your target. But that means that it's the target that you're looking for. So they're actually doing better than you because they're going viral.
Yeah.
So why don't you pick up what you have?
Yeah.
That's always what I say to Ray, my partner from the brand. It's like, we're getting targeted from people that actually we are aspiring to. So we need just to take in consideration what they are doing and just replicate it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, let's start by this.
Or save it and then use ChatGPT or any other tool that are free for now to just get what the hook best. What is the transition? Because believe it or not, all the transition of the video is saving the metadata.
Yeah.
So you can get it.
Yeah.
Just upload it to ChatGPT and just extract them. You create a folder, you upload this folder, and that's it.
Yeah, so just don't hesitate to use whatever free
Do
tools that
it.
exist.
Use it as much as you can.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Just as a last question, is there any key takeaway or anything we didn't mention that you would like to discuss?
I think we mentioned also, I think like we're good, but I do believe like, as you said, creative will never be substitute, enhanced.
Yeah, enhanced. So, yeah. That's why you actually work on both.
Yeah, I do believe that. Like I'm a person that build and work with AI, but I'm also a person that is creative. So I mean, I do believe that my creativity will not go away.
Yeah.
But again, you know, you just can enhance it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was very inspiring. I wish you a lot of success in your brand and in your job as well, of course.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time.